Thanks for tuning in to 101.3 BKMG The Farce, coming to you live from separate places, pre-recorded. Now presenting The Bane and Mickey Show.
Hello, welcome back to The Bane and Mickey Show.
Our fourth installment with a surprising new twist.
Today, we have our guest. Oh my goodness. Gavin.
Where is he?
What?
I don't know.
Wait, Gavin and I know people? Other people?
No, definitely not.
Okay, it's just Gavin's cat.
I actually just found this guy on the street.
No, today we have a good friend, Jack Collier, here with us, one of our film school buddies and creative partner.
Good friend.
Didn't
think I'd make it this far.
Okay,
Mediocre.
Jack is one of my best friends, and we are creative collaborators. Small plug.
They're
Just
a
kidding.
team.
Yeah, so we brought him in today to talk a little bit about film school.
Because we all went to film school together, and that's how we all know each other.
Yeah. Jack, do you want to say hi?
Hello.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about film school today because we did that. That's a thing. Spent 4 years and then some. But
4
really,
years.
it was probably like 50 emotional years and...
Only 50 for you? That's great news.
How much was it for you, Gavin?
At least 100. At least 100 emotional years, for sure.
How about you, Jack?
I just view it as $20,000 down the...
$20,000
Well, I mean, if you want to look at it
for
that
a
way.
piece of paper. Yay!
Hooray!
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, okay, we'll get into it. But first, we like to start off our podcast talking about if we've seen anything good recently. So, Jack, have you seen anything good recently?
I mean, last night me and Tina watched Banditas.
Oh.
Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
What's
I
that?
put that on my list to watch, yeah.
It was, it felt like they were going for those Pirates of the Caribbean vibes,
Oh,
but it just didn't land.
Was that made recently?
No. Let me look it up. I want to say it was like 2010s.
Oh, okay. Wait, that sounds familiar, actually, yeah. We're both gonna be wrong.
2006.
Oh, wow, okay. That was closer than Gavin and I have been sometimes.
I feel like this came out a couple years ago. Oh, it came out in 1994. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we're dumb. Clearly our qualification piece of paper was not good enough.
Well, you only had to have a C average, so...
That's
why I'm
true.
here.
Yeah, all those film theory classes.
Man, what a crock of shit that was. Film theory was the dumbest thing I've ever been in.
Well, okay, I have a question, Jack. Because...
I have an answer.
Do you? Ooh, that's good. So I only have one piece of paper because I have film production, and they don't give you another piece of paper when you do a minor, because I did a theater minor and screenwriting minor. Gavin has 2 pieces of paper because he did film production and business. Now you did film production, and you were one of the last folks to get a screenwriting major. Do you have 2 pieces of paper?
Nope, they only gave me one, and it just says film.
Ooh.
Doesn't acknowledge film production or screenwriting. It
just says film. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because I think you and Lexi were probably the last people in that catalog. Who knows anymore? I think I went through like 4 different catalogs. One each year, probably. Let's be honest.
It's ridiculous.
And then
just pick one thing.
I
And
know.
that's why so many people got stuck in like another 2 quarters because they couldn't
The
fucking get
catalogs,
schedule
yeah,
right.
the catalogs are all messy. Yeah, that's a specific problem to our specific school and our program. But in general, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Film school was good. Did a lot. Learned a lot.
I feel like the people I met were more influential than the classes I took.
Right. Yeah, definitely
Not
the
that the classes weren't
experiences.
helpful,
You know, I think
but
having access to equipment and crew and actors
mm-hmm.
was probably the most exceptional part of it.
I think definitely going in not knowing shit about film. I think it was beneficial if you go in and you're like, you've already like done a bunch of short films, you like know everything about a camera, you're probably going to be bored most of the time.
Yeah, especially those early classes. Those early classes are kind of just repeats, especially if you've done film in like high school or any film, like independent film before school.
What I found with a lot of the people that had already gone in making like several short films and knowing a ton about cameras is they were like the most pretentious people
That's true.
that you'd
That's
ever
true.
meet.
Yeah.
They were a lot more pretentious and like holier than thou and oh, I know everything, so I don't have anything to gain from being here.
Right. And yeah, I mean, you're going to meet those people at any school. I think especially some of the bigger league film schools. You'll definitely meet those people. But all of us, or at least I know Jack and I, we both did films in high school and came to school with the intention of doing film. Was that the same with you, Gavin?
And see. So in high school I did theater mostly. I made one film that was terrible that I'm pretty sure you can still find online. Then I didn't really do anything with film for a while. And then before I came here, I made another short film, which was only slightly less terrible than my first one, which is still online. That won an award because it was the only one that was submitted.
What
And
was the
so-
award?
Best film.
For
Being
like,
the only one submitted, and I got like a $25 Amazon card
hey,
for
you know
it.
what? That $25.
A win is a win is a win.
Yeah,
You can put that on your resume.
that's true.
Hey, it won, man.
Um,
Did anybody else apply? No, but
No.
I still won.
So did you come to school with the intention of like for the film program or like with the intention of
So
Studying film?
initially, I was going to come for accounting.
you?
But
Why would you
then,
do that to
like,
yourself?
That was pretty much the thought I had in like my last quarter at the community college I was going to. Was why would I want to do this? Because I will definitely blow my brains out. And then it just turned out I already got accepted to Central before I switched programs.
Okay.
So like luckily it was just a matter of like changing programs, and that was really easy.
Did you have
So-
to apply for since you had gotten your AA? Did you have to apply for a major when you returned to Central?
Kind of. So, like, originally I was accepted into the business program because I did have my AA requirements. And then I was pretty much just like, I want to do film now. And they said, apply here. And I said, done. And they were like, here you go. Now you're with all the losers. And that's where I met you guys.
Oof. I'm gonna pause real quick and plug my computer in and try to string it through my closet door.
I thought Kendall was going to say you guys were going to plug in some sponsors. Do we have any sponsors?
This is sponsored by No Brand Chips and No Brand Sodas.
Oh, I
Get
love
your No Brand chips and soda at your local generic mart. Mention us and they will charge you more. So I don't really know how sponsorships work because we don't have any because we're still poor. Though I remember the first thing that you and I did, Jack, was Blue Haze.
Ah, yes. Blue
And I remember
Haze.
because we'd met a couple times before that, but I remember like our first real interaction was we were reading Blue Haze, and I just happened to be doing Zoil, and then that's how I got cast in Blue Haze.
Yeah, just a random s- script reading in film club, probably. Yeah.
Yep, that was Film Club. Yeah, it was after Film Club, so it was writer's room, and it was cool and classy.
I feel like we interacted, like, I remember first, like, meeting you at the Pitch Fest during the film festival.
Yes, that's right. I think we did. Yes, I remember that. And then me and Snove ended up winning that, which was kind of weird, but good, I guess. Though
Well-
that did never turn into anything. So
Yeah.
Oh my god, the Pitch Fest.
and how
Wow.
Snova and I's idea turned into nothing.
Was that the one with the brother who could see ghosts or something?
He saw like the ghost of his sister, who didn't knows the sister who saw her brother's ghost, but he didn't know he was dead.
Okay.
Or was the reverse? But that was pretty much the whole idea, and it was sort of like a grieving analogy type thing.
Right, yeah, yeah. Oh, old days and new days.
So now that you're back, we can continue talking about our how much fun film school was.
Yeah, so okay, so you changed halfway through with
Hmm.
going into film.
But by the time I was actually at Central, I was a full film person.
Okay. Yeah, I went.
At
No, go ahead, Jack.
Oh, I was just gonna say, at what point did you realize you made a terrible mistake?
I mean, I didn't hate accounting. It just like as I kept doing more classes, I just realized it was not what I wanted to do forever, and I would probably be super miserable and hate myself. Now I'm going to be super miserable and like myself a
Right,
little more.
a little bit. So at what point did you then decide to add a business major?
Oh, I didn't get a business major, so I have a business associates.
Oh, from your community
So when
college.
I was at my community college, I got my associate's degree in business, and
Okay.
then but it had the transfer credit, so I was able to transfer here and just do film stuff.
Okay, okay. So you
So that's
didn't
my
get
actual major.
okay, so you didn't double major at Central with
No, no,
business.
no.
Great. Yeah,
Ridiculous.
who would do that? Um, I mean, yeah, going into film school, did you have any like expectations? And then were those expectations met with reality, or did you kind of was it kind of the opposite of what you were
I
expecting?
would say a little bit of both. No, for being the film department, there was a heck of a lot of drama
Oh, so
all
much
the
drama.
time.
Yeah.
Just a toxic cesspool of emotions.
Yeah.
Yes. The biggest thing I realized was weeding out the pretentious film people from the people that are actually like cool and not just sort of wannabes.
Right.
Or not even wannabes, they're just pretentious film people.
There's definitely a I don't know if hierarchy is the right word, but there's definitely like a social.
Clicks form.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
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 Well, see, there was like the people that were the three I noticed were like people who were sucking up to the head of the department at the time. There was that sort of suck up clique. Then there was the pretentious film people who everything has to be art.
Uh-huh.
And then there was the people that were like, we just want to make movies and make cool stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I would
And I mean, there was a little bit of overlap, but
yeah.
I think you
that
need to
was.
add the people who I'm not sure why I'm in this program.
Oh, and then I guess also in that group would be the people that are doing it for the easy degree.
Right. Yeah. Although I feel like there weren't too many of those. There were a couple, but not too many,
Hmm.
at least at our school. Yeah, I would say, I mean, not like bashing anyone, but I think at any school, in any department and discipline, you'll definitely have those stuck up, pretentious
There's always
folks.
those people. Well, like my problem with the people that were in that group were not that they were suck ups. It was just that it was the way the teachers handled it. Some teachers a little more than others. Not to name any names because there's no real point in it, but like they got special treatment, and that's what really bothered me with them
Right.
is that they were suck ups, but and then they also got special treatment because of it, and that always bugged me.
Right. What about you, Jack? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I don't know. I just kind of did my own thing. I didn't really worry too much about what everyone else was doing. Like, I think there's definitely those people that they're trying to achieve a very certain thing, but I just kind of wanted to do my own thing, and I feel like that just works a lot better.
Right. I feel like I guess to separate it even more, there's those people that are definitely shooting for Hollywood, and they
Hmm.
base everything they do and everything they achieve off of all the big names, all the big leagues. And then there's all the independent artists. Not to say you can't aim for Hollywood, but I think just
But that's not your goal.
that's not your goal. Yeah, which I think all three of us kind of fit in that.
We're more about making stuff that we want to see and we want to create, not what's going to be popular and make a bunch of money
Right,
necessarily.
right, yeah.
Like, it's definitely a part of it, but also, like, it's not a critical part of what we're making.
Maybe we're just a little more attuned to the fact that we'll be starving artists for a while, you know? And I'm okay
True.
with that. I probably accepted that when I was like 7. Let's be honest with ourselves. No,
I mean, honestly, Hollywood just doesn't seem that appealing anymore with like how controlling all the
right.
studios are with their
Hmm.
movies and
You
how
have very little free reign, it feels
And,
like.
like, I feel like in theory it seems really nice because you're working in that place and having your paycheck or whatever. But you don't, like, you were just saying, like, there's not a lot of freedom in it because they're going to control everything. One of the things, like, if I were to ever be in more of the bigger studio position, it would be more something I'd want to work with, like a Blumhouse type,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
because they do their thing, but it's like a specific thing that they just do really well. It's kind of like the old studio system. Like, if we were more like that, but you got the huge conglomerates, Disney, Netflix is coming in there now, Warner Brothers, Paramount. Like, honestly, it's just Disney
Oh, yeah.
fucking up everything for
Yeah.
everybody.
Disney reigns overall. And the day that they take over Warner Brothers that's like the next big one,
God.
That's what they have next. So
Which, in theory, they shouldn't be able to do.
they
But
shouldn't, and I
because they're
will.
not technically a monopoly yet, but they're
Right. No,
working
they
on it.
aren't, but that's the day,
We
Yeah.
just need them to keep making flops like Mulan so they can go bankrupt.
So that, yeah, oh my God. Well, yeah, so I mean, yeah. I mean, other than, just sticking to yourself, like, yeah, did you expect anything
Different.
out of anything different than what you were met with?
Um, hmm. I mean, I think I went in because I originally didn't go in thinking I'd get a production minor. Went in mainly for screenwriting, but I kind of went in with like a vague idea of how stories are, but then you kind of get in there and you're like, wow, everything I write is shit. And just kind of like being more realistic in a sense when writing stories, not saying like all stories have to be contemporary. It's just when you're writing, you have to, again, think of feasibility, other
Right.
things.
Like starting to think more about like production
That was one of the
when you
bigger
write.
things for me, is like um, doing a lot more producing stuff now. Whenever I write anything, that always comes into my head. Like, the first thing I'm like, this takes place on a gigantic planet with no atmosphere and zero gravity, and then I'm like,
And
that
there's
sounds expensive. It takes place on a small farm outside of Washington where
yeah,
there's no cows and some
no
grass.
cows. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, think from my perspective, I guess, Jack, most of what you write now is with a production in mind, like you write because you want to film it. But
Yeah.
before, were you just kind of writing because you wanted to write the stories and less of I want to make this one day?
Yeah, like when I first joined film club, I think someone in it showed like this website where the person who ran it wrote like a 2-page script a day.
Oh wow.
And so I started trying to do that, but more like once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those ones was just kind of like whatever I felt at the time.
Yeah.
And they were pretty bad, but I think starting off it helped a lot just trying to like get what I wanted to onto a page, and like some of them even went on to to go on to other projects. Like originally my story idea, which I pitched in screenwriting development about a mom who cuts off her son's arms and legs to keep him there. That I made like my first year at Central and Film
Oh
Club.
my god.
I mean, and I mean,
I
it's not
remember
like,
that.
sometimes I think, like the person who's writing every day, sometimes that's just for practice's sake, and so that's not a bad thing, you know? I don't know.
Yeah,
When I
I
had a
mean,
little more
like,
free time, I would write more.
Yeah.
I really do need to start writing every day again, but it's a lot harder now that I have a job and other responsibilities.
Right.
I know,
Yeah.
stupid responsibilities.
I
I
mean,
don't have government money funding my living expenses.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Or any money, really. Any
Yeah.
free money funding my living expenses. Do you feel like all the classes we took were relevant in any way? Or like, do you feel like we should have had to take all those classes, especially like some of the film history or like film auteur stuff like that? Because not my cup of joe.
I feel like with screenwriting, all the classes I took for that were solid. Like, I think the only one I didn't particularly care for was um, it was an elective called Japanese cinema, and that
Mm,
was only because we basically just watched movies in that class, nothing else.
right.
Like, there was a bit of discussion at the end, but it was just like I could have stayed at home and watched all these movies and had the same experience. But going into production, it felt like at the start it was good not knowing like what specific areas I excelled in, but as you went further, and it was still kind of like everybody does everything instead of staying to a niche category, is
I
when it
think
started to fall apart for me.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one of the kind of problems with our program was like it was hard to specialize in anything or like work on getting really good at one thing or even like a couple things because you sort of had to
Do multiple things.
do everything.
Yeah. Which, like, again, that's the difference between going to like a state college versus a
Like an
specific
actual.
film school,
Mhm.
But I mean, for the, you know, the school, I chose the school for the budget and the location. And so, I don't regret it. I mean, certainly there are things I wish had been better or different, but it was still uh
I think it was still beneficial.
right. Yeah, yeah. But I agree, Jack, with the screenwriting classes. I have to agree, all of those were pretty strong,
Mm.
pretty solid. Especially if you're going the screenwriting minor route or major route. They did a good. It was a good, mix of getting those all getting you where you need to go. I think with the production route is where it's kind of messy, which we've talked about because they're always changing the catalog and there's always an influx of professors and rearranging, and I think that's probably where it gets messy. But yeah, no, in terms of I guess like all the theory classes, because there's a film, don't they offer a film studies major
Oh, a minor, I
or
think. They have a film
minor,
studies minor.
maybe, versus production. So I guess that's where all those come from. And like, yeah, it's good to go in and learn theory and learn genre and learn history, but maybe not to the extent that they kind of expect.
I just feel like there was a lot of it.
There
Like,
was
I
a lot
don't
of it.
mind learning some of those things. I just feel like some of the later ones would have been nice as an option, like auteur mostly. I wasn't a
Right.
big fan of auteur.
Well, I certainly feel like, when you're taking all these theory-based classes, when you just want to get started on production, but you have to fulfill all these theory-based classes first, is kind of where that, like, annoyance comes from.
But I understand the benefit of it, though. Like, having that basis in films and what these things can mean and what they've meant and things like that. So, like, I get the benefit of it. It just sometimes was frustrating.
Right.
When you were in the tour with the Coen brothers, right, Gavin?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like with that one, I think the problem was that like just focusing on a single auteur was too much. Like you could have covered the Coen brothers in like a segment and then moved on to a different set of directors.
Or maybe just doing like a broader auteur talk, even.
Yeah,
Because, or just talking about like what makes an auteur. Because I agree, that might have helped a bit.
I did,
Because, like,
yeah. I did like at the end though for our final where we chose our own auteur, but then yeah, we still had to bring it back to the Coen brothers. But
I
maybe
feel
that's
like
where
if they just kind of like tried to apply that to production in some way, like I don't know if when you guys make films or something, but if you start seeing like elements of your own authorship, as they
right.
say.
hmm
No, see that would be interesting to have analyzed or something, you know? I don't I think of the things created at school personally, I don't really see an auteurship in myself.
I don't know, Kendall. When we make stuff, we see recurring elements of vomit,
And pee,
feet.
right?
Um,
No, but is that a me thing or is that an us thing or is that a you thing? That's the
or is
question.
that a Tarantino thing?
Or yeah. No, but I mean, cause like I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just too early in my career to base it or to want to. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I feel like that was the point. Like they're saying it with the Coen brothers, since we kind of brought them up, is like you don't really see it then, but like looking back now, you can sort of see
Right.
it.
And at what point does it is it natural and at what point is it you kind of have this like expectation on you to make it fit
Well, it was
this
interesting
auteurship.
because I talked to Melissa about Jordan Peele,
Uh-huh.
like as sort of because people were talking about him as a film auteur. I was like, he's done like a movie.
Right.
How can you really say that about him?
Well, now he's done a
Well, he's
couple.
done two movies now, but
And
like
then could you also
well, what
count
about the one with the cat?
Keanu, right? But
Keanu.
that was him and Key. Was Keegan
Yeah,
Michael
could you
Key
also count
also?
Key and Peele as part of his auteurship though?
I mean, maybe, but she was just saying like talking about like specific themes and elements, and you can just sort of see where he's going with things and
Right.
like this type of stories he wants to tell.
So, but
I
it'll
And I
be
thought that was kind of
interesting to
interesting.
see if he keeps that up or if it changes over time.
hmm
I mean, I feel like you kind of have to include his time on Key and Peele because all his comedy elements still show up in his newer films.
Right. Yeah. No,
hmm
that's true.
Well, it's not even just comedy elements; it's just like how he tells stories and like how he puts them together
Yeah.
in like interesting ways.
Yeah. Um. So I personally feel like, yeah, going off of theory classes and all these classes that you're forced to take that you don't really want to take. I feel like I personally learned a lot more or gained a lot more from my experience on set versus being in class. Um,
Definitely.
I don't, yeah, but
I feel like it was a bit of both. Like I definitely one of the things I found being out of school for a while is like how much I actually did learn because at the time it doesn't feel like I was learning anything, but now like looking back, I sort of realize how many things I've actually learned from being in school or on set or just being in class or like, oh, I get that. That's a reference to this or that's how they did that
uh
or
huh.
those sorts of things.
Yeah, like a little more in retrospect, can you see
Right.
where you've advanced?
I feel like the best classes that had a good balance of that was Patrick's cinematography and
Oh,
also
uh huh.
when he first did production one.
Where it kind
Like,
of forces you to
yeah.
be on set, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, because there was a time where, because before I was in production classes, where you're stuck doing only the theory classes for the most part, you have to find your own way onto set outside of class, and
hmm
that's where things like we made Blue Haze and we did all the film slams, and or I was acting for like your production classes, Jack, or um, whatnot, before I could, or being doing PA work for upper class then so it's like in my first 2 years I learned a lot more but I had to go find that. I had to go out and get that experience myself. It wasn't like it was from class. But then I feel like the last couple years, when you're in production classes and you're forced to do that for like that's your classwork.
Hmm.
I guess then it's being given to you a little bit more. We did still make a lot of stuff outside of class though, but
Yes, we did.
I feel like all our best stuff was projects we did outside of class.
I know. I think
Yeah.
that's where the I mean I think that's one of the beneficial things of going to school is that certainly if I had not gone to school I wouldn't have access to equipment or the technology or even the people and the teams that you need to build to make these projects. But yeah, I think it's certainly hard wanting because even for the production classes, even though you're making stuff for class, there are still ramifications and guidelines that you have to meet, and sometimes
Hmm.
even your genre or your content is limited. And so I think that's where we were making stuff outside of class, but then there's almost a point where it's like you're more passionate about the stuff you're making outside of class, and so the stuff
Right.
you make in class is kind of falling down
Well, that's what I
a
was
little bit.
thinking. Was like, we care more about those things because we have a little more investment in them, and it's not just I'm doing this for a grade, so I'm going to do just take off all these things on the box that I don't necessarily care about. Like, is it under 5 minutes? Check. Does it have this? Check. Does it have two people in it? Check.
Right.
I
Those sorts of
think
things.
the one good thing about having like class projects though is that if you're someone like me who has ideas, you kind of get like, haha, these people are forced to be here and work for me, and they have no say in it because they don't have any ideas. They're just here to get a
That's
grade, so I can make
And
them
what's
do
crazy
whatever I
about that
want.
though
yeah,
is that
that's
happened to me
true.
a lot. Like, you would think that people in a creative program would have more ideas, but like every time I was in a group, they'd be like, "What do we want to do?" And I was like, "I mean, if no one else is going to throw out an idea, we'll just do my thing because I have an idea."
Right. In which that can
Um,
be beneficial. But then there's times like for me, my production six, we had too many ideas. And so we all
mm,
kind of had to like not give up in a sense our projects, but we
compromise.
had to compromise and be like, okay, this time we'll do your sort of thing.
Well, another thing that is, I think, beneficial about like class projects is it teaches you how to like work with people, people you don't know, how to get along. I mean, I feel like there's definitely benefits because
Oh,
like
for
you're not always
sure.
going to work with your friends. You're not always going to work on what you love. It
Yeah,
so it just
like
teaches you those things, which I think are beneficial and like helpful.
yeah, before I went to film school, I was like the quiet kid at the back of the class who never said anything, but having to like actually talk to people in order to successfully do something really helped coming out of my shell.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
you're the quiet kid in the back of the class that says creepy shit.
Yeah,
Well, I
but
would
now I
say,
don't feel awkward about saying creepy shit.
yeah, I would
You should feel a
say
little awkward about it.
along with that, being forced, not forced, but working with people you don't know or you don't necessarily like and enjoy working with,
Hmm.
but still having to deal with that and making sure that you can let like um,
Your personal shit go.
personal things aside and just be like, we're here for a job, we're going to do the job, and when the job's done, we're done. So I think there are
Hmm.
beneficial things through that for sure. Yeah, and I think also forcing you to work in a variety of people because yeah, for sure, if like I could always work with the two or three people I wanted to work with, I would, but I wouldn't have worked on as much a variety of genres, or worked with the various people from various backgrounds or coming from, with various perspectives, I guess. So it forces you to get all of those I all of that experience so that you can then kind of pare it down and be like, I've experienced all of those. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know what I want to work
Hmm.
on, and kind of go from there.
It does sort of help you get like a focus on what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Um, do you feel like there is a like a film school etiquette? Like,
Oh my god.
is that a thing? You know, or
Define etiquette.
I don't know about an etiquette, but there's definitely like what if people who don't go to film school or don't like have an investment in it, there's things that they always assume from you, like, oh, you're in film school, you've seen Citizen Kane, it's probably your favorite movie,
uh huh.
things like that. Um, or, oh my gosh, you must love Hitchcock and Tarantino and Kubrick, they must be your favorites.
Right.
Or, oh, you're in film school, tell me a story.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh, that's the worst one ever. I hate
Do you
that
want to
so
be a
much.
director or so when
So
are
you
you
want to be a
going down to
director?
Hollywood? You know, these are like
Oh yeah, I hate that one.
the questions that you always get as a film student.
So
Yeah.
there was one thing I found interesting, um, being in the outside world, like not with film majors and creative people, is I realized that other people don't actually care about movies. Like it's a weird thing that I
Yeah.
like. Just being around all those people, you just assume that everybody's like that.
I know. Oh
Not the
man.
case.
Yeah, it's
Some people
like
are really boring.
what do I talk about? No, so I know Jack, you wanted to you I think that always comes up when we talk about film schools like this toxicity or this hierarchy, maybe a food chain, I don't know. But then something that came up when I was thinking about all of that is there a film school blacklist? Like
Oh, most definitely.
and how and does that then contribute to the real Hollywood blacklist or like the industry blacklist? And like, I don't know. Thoughts?
When you say blacklist, do you mean like the screenwriter blacklist, like the script blacklist, where it's like best unused scripts, or like
No,
blacklist,
like
like the
person
bad people
blacklist.
list?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, no, I think there's definitely a person blacklist within the hierarchy of film school and probably just the industry in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's basically it's just if someone like isn't performing well and you've just given them chances and then you'll tell other people that man this person was so bad on set and then they'll be like well I don't want them on my set like I think I had like a group project and I didn't know this person well, but then someone else I knew came up to me and he was like, I'm so sorry you got them on your group, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Do you think that comes out of like do you think that evolves because film school is just this like mock trial version of being in the industry or do you think it comes out of I don't know.
I think it's just a human nature thing. Like, it's not even something restricted solely to film. It's just, it comes out more because we have to interact so much in
Yeah,
order to make stuff.
that's fair.
And if
You're
I feel like
always
you'd
with
find
the
that
same
other
people.
departments, like other departments, would probably have similar problems. Like I would think specifically like STEM ones, like you don't, and I don't think it's necessarily like an intentionally mean blacklist. It's not like I don't like Jack, so I'm going to try and make sure he doesn't work on stuff. It's more like I saw that Kendall doesn't do these things consistently, so just be aware
Right.
type of thing.
Yeah. And I mean that is fair because yeah, there's only you know, it's not like you're open to the whole world when it comes to film creatives. You have a certain cesspool to choose from of people that are involved in that industry, I suppose. So they'll come from somewhere. Do you
Hmm.
think uh film school is like a trial version of the real world?
I feel like ours was just with some of the drama and problems we had with some of our uh, people,
Yeah.
but I think I think it's possible. I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's hard to say because it's a lot more contained, but so is Hollywood.
Yeah.
I feel like the one thing it was missing that it feels like the real world is most of is people bidding to try and get positions
That's true.
for
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah, because you don't have people fighting, like producers necessarily fighting over.
We need just film students scrambling just to get the PA position.
Oh man, right. So okay, so yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's like a, yeah, and maybe it's just because it is so closed off in a sense. You know, being in the film. I mean, my first couple years at school, I still had a couple gen eds to get through, but I finished them mostly through by the end of my first year. So then I was only in film, and then eventually theater. But it's like I didn't have to go anywhere else on campus. I didn't interact with any other disciplines necessarily, except through work, because I worked with a lot of like family child life majors. But for the most part, yeah, you're kind of only in the little world of the film program. So I don't know. But that varies because there are certainly people that spread out their gen eds and still do their gen eds later on. So I don't know. Maybe that was just my experience.
Yeah, I mean, I since I didn't have any prereqs or anything to do before I got there, I was pretty much just solid film the whole time, so I
Uh-huh.
didn't have to be around anyone ever at any time,
Yeah.
and so it was sort of closed off, which is kind of nice also because you didn't have to try and learn anybody else's name. Just got to be around the same people, and when new people showed up, you could ignore them, and it was fine.
Oh my gosh. What about you, Jack?
Um, I don't know, like the period where I did have to do like prerequisites, I did kind of like it just because I wasn't solely restricted to just film and like
Mhm.
I don't know, sometimes you like meet other people and you get other experiences that inspire you to make other stories, you know?
Right.
Like
It certainly broadens.
I definitely will always remember having to take like intro to engineering safety. I
Oh
have
my
no idea
gosh.
why I picked this class. But basically, there was one day where he was like giving us a tour of the workshop, but like every time we got to a new tool, he would give us some horror story about someone doing improper safety procedures there
Yep.
and then getting horribly injured.
Yep. Welcome to the scene shop. Um, so yeah. I mean,
I feel like, sort of along with Jack's point, sorry, Kendall,
no, go ahead.
it's also nice getting a break from the same people, especially when there's those amongst them that can frustrate you. So it's nice to be somewhere else where they are not, and you don't have to necessarily interact to or talk to
Oh
or play nice
boy.
with them.
Oh boy, does it. Yeah, that was me last year when I added on theater. It was just nice to kind of take a break. Um, mentally.
Fair enough.
There was just a lot of drama at the time, so
When was there wasn't drama?
yeah, that's a good yeah, I mean that's a good question. So
I mean, the whole time I was there was pretty dramatic.
yeah, I mean so in retrospect, you know, if someone listening to this is in high school or in doing, you know, finishing their AA and they're considering going on to higher education and they're looking at film, would you suggest or advise they go to a film school or go try to get a film degree or not? You know, what?
I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you would have to do it. It kind of depends on where you're at. So, like, sort of like when Jack was talking about like how he went in not knowing a whole lot, I think then you should go. Or like me, I didn't know a whole lot. But like if you've already been doing it for a while and you sort of have your vision for whatever, I don't think it's super necessary
Mm-hmm.
unless you really just got to have that piece of paper.
Jack?
What do you think, Jack?
Um, I mean, just kind of have to echo that point because, like, if you already have your heart set on what you're doing, I don't think you need to pay $20,000 to keep doing it.
Right.
I would if like some high schooler came up and asked me, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing film school," I'd just be like, "Are you prepared to be poor? Are you prepared to have
Never sleep.
never sleep, have uncomfortable interactions with people?
Are you
Just
prepared to have all your ideas shot down?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're prepared to just have your dreams broken and then rise back up, then sure,
Right. I
go
mean, I
ahead and
certainly agree with both of you. Going, it depends where you're at in life and where you're at in experience and comfortability and goals, I guess. But I mean, there are certainly benefits to going to school, meeting people. It's a good way to connect and to resource.
Hmm.
There's certainly people, I mean, Jack and I still make stuff all the time, but there's certainly other people that I would consider continuing to work with outside of school. Um, it is if you come from a place where you won't necessarily have access to equipment or like, you know, production needs, it's a way to use those sources to create content, maybe to build a reel or a portfolio.
I
Um,
would say,
but it
sorry,
does come at a cost, you know. Um,
I would say on the also with that, like, kind of how open minded you are. Because, like I was saying, if you know what you want to do, then there's no real point in going to film school.
mm-hmm.
But also, like, if you want to make more connections, I think that's probably the number one most beneficial thing about going to film school was meeting other people, finding people who like what you like, finding people who you can work with, and like making those relationships for later on as well.
Yeah,
Um, so you can make more stuff because like once you leave, you may not like if you just go off on your own. If you don't already have that sort of like group of people, then you might be kind of sunk. But it's school's a good way to meet people who you can work with
right.
from
Because
now
it's
till
it's
whenever.
hard to break into the industry,
Hmm.
and maybe it just also, I mean, maybe it just depends where you're coming from, where in terms of knowledge and mentally, but also like locationality, you know,
Hmm.
it'll be easier in, some states or countries or cities than others to just kind of jump in. But I think, at least for me, being at school helped in the same way, like open up in a way and kind of not even like yeah, making connections, but in a sense being more open to going out there to find my connections, you know,
Hmm.
going to film festivals and going with the intent of I'm going to go meet some filmmakers and trade business cards and talk about our stuff, um, and collaborate, or kind of reaching out to other people instead of expecting everyone to kind of come to you, in a way,
Hmm. Yeah.
or just being more comfortable with the idea that yeah, you have to go out and get it. You can't just expect it to be given to you. You know,
Right.
I don't know.
So I mean, I feel like yeah, we sort of covered it, but it's beneficial. There are a lot of benefits to it, but you just got to be really sure that that's what you want to do
Yeah.
and spend the next however long and however much money to do that.
how many people do you guys know who have graduated and are still doing something with their degree?
Um.
I
I think I
know.
know like three or four.
Yeah, I would say three or four. I can think of a couple people that have
I can think of like
consistently
two,
been producing and making uh content commercially, and then a couple people who have decided to go on to grad school.
three.
Um,
Sorry.
I think it's hard because we're all at such a young age that it's like you finish school and then it's like you're immediately drowned in student debt, and then you kind of just don't know how to continue from there. I don't know, because it is hard. You got to find a balance of continuing to create and continuing to follow your your passion and your discipline while also
Not
being
drowning in
financially stable
debt.
and living.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty rough.
but not to say that it can't be done. I think you also just have to be I think you also just have to be open minded that it's not always going to be perfect, and like yeah, there will be times where you might struggle financially a little bit. Um, but as long as you're passionate about what you're going towards and you're passionate about what you're creating and you're working on, then it's okay. You know,
Hmm.
you just got to, I don't know. And it's not for everyone,
Gonna
but
ask you this same question in 5 years and see how you feel.
well, hopefully in
You
five
also just got to
years,
accept that it takes time.
I'll have, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's another thing is, yeah, you have to accept that it takes time and that, you know,
It's not going to work out right away.
right, yeah. And I think it's hard with media and young like celebrity artists, although most of them are probably celebrities for like acting in
Hmm.
a sense, but it's hard to see people that are like your same age or younger even and be like, "Oh, but look at how successful they are." And I'm sitting here doing
Doing
nothing.
nothing. And then
But
also just being willing to accept it, whatever like comes in like the form that it takes. So like it might not be exactly what you were imagining, but
right,
if you're still working in film and doing stuff, then
right.
hey,
And it's
maybe that's
also
just the
like,
way it's going to be.
you know, the skewed perspective of like we're young, but we feel old, but we're still young. Like we still have
Hmm.
time. It's not like everything has to be done before you're 25. Like there's plenty of people who don't get started until their 30s or
We're,
later
we're
or
not all Orson Welles.
right, right. Yeah, see you can't compare yourself to some of those names, you know. So
But it's also hard because media's
it
like,
is hard.
look at these names.
Yeah,
Look
media
how
is
cool they
always
are.
shoving it down your face and so it is
They're
hard.
like, they're really cool. And you're just eating fucking chips on the couch, you stupid bitch.
Uh yeah.
That's
So
what my TV tells me.
yeah, I mean it just takes experience not it just takes
Takes time.
a good level head and you know you need to know what you're wanting and what you're looking for and work towards it and know that it takes time. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that seems like a good way to sort of wrap things up. Then it makes it time for random topic
Random
time, which is how we
topic
like to close these
time.
things out. Jack, you'll be asked to participate by force.
So Jack, remember how 2 years ago I came to you with a book of sticky notes and I asked you to fill them all out with random shit.
I wrote the most stupid, inane questions and put them in that jar.
Do you think
I
we
hope we
will
get one of
pull one of
yours.
those out right now? One of your questions? Or will it be someone
Odds are in our
else's?
favor, I
I'm
think.
pretty sure mine had something to do with masturbating penguins.
God damn it, Jack. Okay.
Well, I'd love to talk about that, actually.
Alrighty. Here we go. A nice blue one. Let's see what it is. Is it Jack's handwriting? I don't think so. Strangest experience at a party.
Being
Well,
at a party.
yeah.
uh,
I mean, I haven't really gone to many parties. I think the only one I really went to was a very weird gathering of film people that was very awkward when people started getting drunk.
right. I would.
We were supposed to watch The Room that night, and then
Oh, well,
it all
see,
just
would
went
that really be
downhill.
considered a party though? No.
It was a good amount of people. People were
Yeah.
drinking, people were mingling, maybe even a little too much.
I
I
don't
don't.
think that happens.
Yeah. I don't know if I've had any like strange party experiences. There's certainly like you'll have your good parties and your bad parties either because of content or like situation. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I went to some weird stuff in high
I
school.
think probably it wasn't. Well, would it be strange? I don't know, but I don't know. That's a hard one because like strange.
What is
Yeah, what is
strange?
strange? Um,
Oh, you know what? I actually know. For me, it was the Two Pints rap party, and it was getting later on in the night. and the cinematographer Justin was trying to give me a purple nurple.
God damn it, Justin.
And also being the only sober person around all these drunk people was very strange indeed.
I think the funniest thing from that party, though, was maybe Kevin's reaction to, like, he wasn't expecting to get a lot of good reactions, maybe,
Feedback.
and feedback.
Yeah.
But everyone was so drunk and so out of it that they didn't care, and that everything was funny. And so his reaction to their reaction was just like
Priceless.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like
Next question.
Yeah. Next question. Should we do another one?
Yeah, we got a guest. Why not?
Okay. The Dynasty Pen Chronicles.
Oh no.
Oh no,
That's not even a
indeed.
question.
No, it's a topic.
It's a topic. Oh boy.
That's a
all about me
throwback.
then, I
Wow,
guess.
I have not thought about those in
I remember my first draft of the original Dynasty Pen Chronicles was 15 pages.
Uh-huh.
It has a series of shorts, and there's 50 of them spanning over the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And I have not written any of them.
No. Well, yeah.
Except for the first one.
You
Though I
wanted
know
to
what they're all going to be called, and I sort of have an idea of the story.
Didn't you want to make Dynasty Pen the first draft for like production 6 or something?
Yes, I did.
And then
but then I ended up having to.
or...
That was production 3.
Oh, okay.
Production 6 was going to be Dynasty Pen, but then I ended up doing a bunch of producing stuff.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You know, it's okay for projects to come into fruition and then be dumped. Sometimes it's just not their time.
Let's just turn this into a more general question. What's a project you've had that sort of fizzled out?
Ooh. I would say, in most recent memory, what me and Kendall were going to do for their production 6. That
But
ultimately
has it really fizzled out? Because I would still love to do it. And we had people on board, but it was just a matter of...
Do we have people on board?
Yeah.
Who do we have on board?
Maybe. I don't know. It's not an idea I've given up on yet. I've certainly given up on projects that I will never come back to, but I would love to come back to it.
I mean, I'd love to come back to Dynasty Pen, but we'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
If I ever make it, no one's going to like me.
Yeah. No, I don't
I'm glad
know.
we agree. If I ever make it, though, I have to send a copy straight to Caldwell and be like, you were wrong, boom.
You were wrong. Yeah, I don't know.
So before I did I Hate You Dad for my senior capstone, I wanted to make I can't even remember the name of it. It was essentially a short about for some reason I became just like fascinated in like the weird story and how the Ku Klux Klan got started.
Oh!
Because it was like...
I remember this one.
It started off as just a bunch of like Confederate soldiers post-war like wanting to make a club, and then the wrong people joined, and then it just kind of spiraled into this whole big thing. And I wanted to kind of like get that into a short, but I just couldn't find a way that made it work, especially in short format.
And it wasn't like, wildly offensive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like about the Klan or anything. I just wanted to take that idea that someone makes a group that starts off with like pure intentions, but then it just starts spiraling out of control.
Almost like a Fight Club.
Was that the script with, I want to say, hats and...
Yeah, it was about like...
I really liked that script, yeah, for sure.
Because like freshman year, one of the seniors who I was friend with, he made a script about like like a guy who makes a club for gentlemen,
Oh
and
yeah.
it was essentially he was using it as a way to like get with this one girl, and so I wanted to take that idea and just twist it into something horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like the sort of thing you would do.
Yep.
So before we wrap it all up, Jack, you where can people find you if they want to look at your content or keep up with what you're working on? Do you have I don't know.
Well, all my main creative projects you're gonna find at Toxic Chainsaw Films. We're on Instagram and we're on YouTube, um, and basically it's all the shit I make with Kendall.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
We got
Someone likes Kendall.
this Halloween we're gonna release our um, the last short film we made together in college, Zealot.
Mm-hmm.
Fun black and white film that we made under the table while everyone was doing production 6.
Yes. Yep. And then we should pretty soon have another series.
Yes, we're working on a series called Glumhouse Chums. It is gonna be a puppet web show that goes to terrible places.
I don't know how I feel about that.
You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, so yeah, Toxic Chainsaw Films, check it out, YouTube, Instagram, and Jack, you also have a Instagram you kind of do photography on
Yep,
sometimes.
my main one, Jack E.K. Collier. You can watch me just take random pictures. Yep.
Well, there you go. Thank you so much for coming on and
Thanks for being
joining
with us,
us,
Jack.
putting up with us and our
Yeah.
antics, and giving us your thoughts.
Yeah, I'd
and
love
stuff.
to come back sometime.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
we'll
will
hit
not
you
be
up.
invited back.
I will
Oh.
force
Yeah.
my way in here.
Oh crap. He's gonna hack in.
I will blackmail you both just to get me back
Oh,
on the
shit.
show.
He does have a lot of blackmail.
Oh, I'm fine.
Right, well,
I don't care about being blackmailed. I'll just put that shit out for you. Haha.
oh crap. Alrighty, well, yeah. Thanks for
Bye.
listening. Have a good week, and we'll see you
Bye.
next Friday.
Yay!
Yeah.